Running.
Hello, this is Inside the Press Box with Sunil Sunder Raj for the Everyday Fan Sports. I'm happy to be speaking with the Jersey Jackals outfielder Demetrius Moorer. Demetrius, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. No problem.
Hey, Demetrius, again, congrats, on the Jackals start, to this season, the 2021 season in the Frontier League. I think it's 16-12 in the Northeast Division, behind the Sussex County Miners. The team, as far as stats are concerned, eventually just off to, a blistering start. Can you talk about, being part of this lineup, this dynamic lineup? I got to talk with your teammate Jason Agresti yesterday. Can you just describe, how things have worked out so far?
So far, we've been doing great. We feed off each other, not just on the field, but in the locker room before games, sometimes after games. Talking about approaches. We're constantly communicating about pitchers, what this pitcher threw to me, what worked, what in and out, everything, talent that we have. We have a bunch of guys on this team that can swing it well, and it's not just the physical aspect of it, but it's also the mental side of it. So where we're constantly locked in, and we have one goal in mind. If that's not just having a success, like trying to get a hit, it's having a quality at bat, whether it's a walk, sacrifice fly, and most importantly, hitting the ball hard. And I think that's where we've been finding our success, not chasing the actual hit, but chasing quality at bats.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I know you guys have put up some serious runs on the board this year. I got to throw out some stats. Demetrius, batting average, 269 hits, 26 homers, 153 RBIs, 125 walks. I think that's key, getting on base there, 60 doubles. But can you talk about a couple of guys I wanted to, ask you about? I mean, of course, Todd Isaacs. I mean, Todd has, come in and done a tremendous job. I mean, he's hitting 417. Jason Agresti, I pointed out, 365. Russ Olive, Santiago Chirino, Stanley Espinal, Dalton Combs, Riley Mahalik, and I can't forget, of course, about Alfredo Marte. I mean, it's just talking about from 1 to 9. I mean, all these guys, including yourself, definitely said can hit for average here and get on base. Can you talk about that, Dimitri?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a bunch of guys that not only are great, but the competitiveness in every player that we have, it's like, hey, he's doing good. Let me feed off that. Yeah. Let me do good as well. And when that train is rolling, it's really hard to stop this. I think honestly, I haven't looked at the stats or the numbers throughout the league thoroughly, but I believe from what I've been hearing that we're, if not the top team, one of the top teams offensively in the league. And when that happens, this game is all about pitching and defense. But when you add that third aspect in the offensive side of it, I mean, it's very hard to be stoppable, And like you said, just naming guys that you name right there, 1 through 9, that makes it hard for a pitcher, whether you're a starter reliever coming in, knowing that I can't take one pitch off because, that can be the difference between 1 or 2 runs. You might get a couple outs, but if you take a break and relax, we can literally turn it up a notch at any moment. So, I mean, that helps us. It helps the team, helps the pitchers, helps the morale. Knowing that on any given day, we can score 10, 8 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, no matter what number you want to put out there, we're going to produce. So that helps.
No, definitely. I've seen, the games, of course, with the New York Bulls. You guys have had some high-scoring games there. I had to ask you, new league, Frontier League, said last year, of course, canceled, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I wanted to ask you about the level of competition, playing other teams now. I know you faced the Bulls, quite a few times, but you're now getting to play some other teams. What's your take on, the league for this year, Dimitri?
I mean, in all, first and foremost, we're just blessed to be able to have a chance to play the game. Yeah. When everything happened with, the pandemic last year, everything was uncertain. And you had to take a step back and realize, like, hey, you can't take nothing for granted. But being back on the field in a real competitive aspect, I mean, it's great. You know, there's a lot of young and older talented guys on this team, not even this team, but in this league in general. And to be able to have that chance to say, hey, I'm competing against some of the best in the world, I mean, that's a blessing right there in itself, you know?
I wanted to ask you, going back to last year with the All-American Baseball Challenge, you were able to participate in that. How important that was for you to keep on playing baseball. And then as far as your training, said for this upcoming season as well, Demetrius.
To be able to compete in that, especially what they did in a short amount of time that they had to put everything together, to be able to compete in that was another blessing in itself. I honestly thought when the pandemic happened that, I was going to have to not necessarily take a year off, but like, hey, I was going to be away from baseball. So as soon as I had the opportunity to, they asked me, hey, do you want to come out and play? I jumped on it faster than you could think because, like you said, being a baseball player, that's something that, that you always want to do. You always want to play. You always want to be able to compete, whether it's in a very, very extreme level, whether it's something relaxed. I mean, no matter what it is, you want to compete. So being able to play in that season, it gave me a chance to get some more at bats. Like you said, stay up on my training, be in live games, run a little bit, throw a little bit, because you can only do so much in the off season, hitting inside or throwing inside. But when you get in that live game aspect, it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole different feel. And I mean, I have the opportunity to play, even though it was short lived, not that long. It's way better than nothing. A little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Well said. I was wondering, we talk about baseball being a physical sport, it's a mental sport as well. And then in terms of, it's tough. I mean, talking to Jason, 96 games in 4 months. It's not easy. I mean, it is, as you said, a grind. I mean, you talk about that, just the physical, the mental rigors of a season, how you go about, I guess on an individual, just trying to keep, in the right frame of mind, for every game. Hello? Demetrius?
Routine. Like it's different. Well, not even off of have your routine, no matter what, even though it's hot.
Yeah.
You want to stay in it. You want to be able to stay hydrated, wake up certain times, do things certain ways, eat certain foods, drink, certain like water, protein shakes, eat things that's going to be good for you. With situations like this, when it's a little bit hotter, the routine stays the same, but you do just that little bit of extra. If you drink on a regular basis 4 cups of water, just to give you an example, you might want to drink 6 or 7 more cups, because the hotter it is, the more you sweat. But other than that, we're at a home game. We're at home, 7 o'clock game. Almost 2:41 now. I'm usually here at 2 o'clock, just to get the mind right, relax a little bit, stretch, get the body going. Just, yoga, hip mobilities and everything, get ready for batting practice. And then by the time we do all of that, it's go time. But it's a little bit different on the road, pretty much the same thing, but, maybe things are pushed back or, maybe an hour and a half because, being an away team, you do a little bit, the routine's a little bit different. You have to get accustomed to the ballpark. You might not be able to do the same things that you can at home because you're used to that. So that is something you got to take into consideration as well.
Hey, talk about playing for manager Brooks Carey at Yogi Berra's team. I'm sure it is just fantastic to have the fans back in the stands this year and just have that, electric atmosphere. Can you talk about that, Demetrius?
Yes, this is my 3rd year playing under Brooks. He's hell of a guy, just feeding off him. He gave me an opportunity 3 years ago. When, where things were a little bit uncertain for me when it came to pro ball. And I'm forever grateful for him for that. Just him, he's the type of manager that, he's going to give you an opportunity. You make the best of it, he's going to let you run with it. And then going back to playing here at Yogi Berra Stadium, man, it's great. Not only just to have fans here, but I love playing here at Yogi. The fans are great. The atmosphere is always great. Yeah. The field's great. I just love the area. Just love everything about being up here.
I asked you about, hitting, but as far as playing the outfield position as well, I wanted to ask you, in terms of defense, what you do, like, on a day-to-day basis, and just in terms of, of course, with the other guys, said outfield as well, having that chemistry, knowing, like, said where guys are in position, especially
Mhm.
on fly balls. I just had to ask you about that as well, Demetrius.
So with me personally, one of the first things I like to do once we know what the opposing team's lineup is going to be, you always want to go off that, and then it goes off of our starter. You have to play strengths versus weaknesses. Our pitcher strengths versus the hitter's weaknesses, and then you also have to go our pitcher's weaknesses over the hitter's strengths. So if he's more of a pull guy, it depends on dimensions of the field. Um, how the pitcher's throwing. If he throwing a little bit harder, a little bit slower, maybe he might be able to pull the ball a little bit more. And then it's also too going off of not just pitcher and the hitter. It's also my strengths, my weaknesses versus the other outfielder's strengths and weaknesses. Like some guys can go back on the ball better. Some guys can go forward on the ball better. Some guys can go left or right. So we determine that. And then going off the hitter, if he's done late a little bit, you shoot to the opposite field side, like stuff like that. You always want to try to think ahead of the game, predetermine what could possibly happen. So once it does happen, you just let your body react, let your athleticism take over. So I'm constantly just thinking about that, constantly thinking about, what position or what placement can I put myself in to be able to make the best plays possible.
Great. Last week when I was there at Yogi Berra Stadium covering the Boulder's Jackals game, I know it was the marathon game that went 10 innings, 4.5.
Yes.
I think Alfredo Marte, I think he made a terrific catch right up against the left field wall. We always talk about Alfredo's, offensive game, but, defensively, I think people, shouldn't overlook that as well, because, it's a great catch he made right up against the wall. I wanted to ask you about, before you came to New Jersey, Demetrius, your time, you played, I think, the Prospect League and also the Pacific Association and also the Pecos League for High Desert and then San Rafael. Can you talk about your times there, playing for those teams and leagues?
Yeah, so in the Prospect League, it was after my senior year in college. I had a couple teams draft for the draft wise that were interested in me. That didn't work out, so I ended up having an opportunity to play in the Prospect League, and it was a blessing because that year in the Prospect League was the first year that they were allowing graduating seniors to play in the league because it was mainly a summer league. So that gave me the opportunity to get more at bats and have some scouts look at me. And because of that, that is what, kind of jump started that, that pro ball feel to where it's a yearly round grind. And then after that, my first year after that, I played San Rafael. At the time, they were in the Pacific Association, like you mentioned before. That was my first year of pro ball, my first year of playing, 6 days a week, close to like 80, 85 games.
Yeah.
That first year was, man, it was something that I can't even describe as far as fatigue, getting used to playing every day. But I loved it. It's my first time playing in California, being out there for a long period of time. And then I went over to the Pecos League, played for High Desert Yardbirds. I loved it there as well. And then, like I said, I've been here in New Jersey for the last 3 years. So I've been all over. Yeah. I've traveled a lot. I mean, that's what comes with the game, and I love it. Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Hey, 2018, I was looking at your stats. Yeah, for High Desert, I think you hit 329 with 40 stolen bases. I wanted to ask you is that, and then I think even for Champion City Prospect League, hit 304 with a 373 on base percentage, 457 slugging, 829 on base plus slugging percentage. I mean, those are some outstanding numbers that you put up. Can you just talk about that? I mean, again, flourish, said on that stage, Demetrius.
Yeah, so I've always set myself on first and foremost, defense has always been, ever since I've been a little kid, defense has always been the most important thing to me. And then as of late, it's been offensively as well. The main thing for me is just finding a way to get on base because, I'm a speed guy. Speed never takes a day off. And whether it's base hit, walk, error, me getting on base helps the team any way possible. And those 2 years, offensively wise, was probably the best years I've ever had.
Yeah.
Leading up to as far as putting it all together. So that was just a mindset where, you know, I can't even go back and think about the mindset I had during that time. But I was just, I want to say maybe I was just in a crazy groove.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you move up the ranks, you know, the competition gets better. I've been improving over the last year bit by bit, and that's all it is. It's all about big strides. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, right now, my on-base percentage has always been something that has been way above average, and I take pride on that. So.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that first season with Jersey, I think you had 665 on base plus slugging percentage and 26 stolen bases. And so far this season, I think you have 14 stolen bases. So you're pretty much on that track to maybe improve on that number. Something you take pride in, Demetrius. Definitely want to ask you also about college ball as well. Attended Eastern Kentucky University, I believe Point Park University. Said I think it was for Point Park that year. Said again you were able to. The stats were just phenomenal. Can you talk about your time at both colleges?
So when I was at Eastern Kentucky, my freshman year, we were filled with junior and senior experience. It was my chance of, when I went to Eastern, I had a chance to compete as a freshman, get a starting job. But I'm happy that I was able to feed off of that energy and learn from them. I had my opportunities to play as a freshman, but I knew what my role was. My role was to be a defensive replacement, pinch runner, be that spark plug off the bench whenever it was needed. And after my sophomore year, I started, injury hit me, the injury bug hit me, and some things didn't work out. I ended up, like I said, transferring over to Point Park. I took a redshirt year the first year I was there at Point Park, and that jump-started me to have a whole new mindset. I think my junior year, if I'm not mistaken, I obviously hit over 300 my junior and my senior year. But like you said, average on base percentage, slugging, that was something that I really took pride in. And like I said, that was when I really started to take away just a role as, hey, he's just all defensively. He can be an offensive guy as well. Yeah. So over the years, just going back from those days at Point Park, just leading up to even now, 2021 here with the Jersey Jackals for my third year. Yeah. I'm not just a defensive guy. I'm not just a speed guy. I think I have all of the tools, and I have what it takes to, just show that I have different abilities and I can affect the game in so many different ways.
No, that's great points you made. Okay, from Homestead, Florida, attended South Dade High School.
Yes, sir.
Junior, senior years, and you were able to again, put up the numbers there. Can you talk about it? How special those times were, at South Dade High School.
Yes, at South Dade, Buck Pride right there for all my Florida natives listening. Buck Pride at South Dade Senior High. My junior year, I transferred into South Dade. It was just another situation where junior, senior, heavy, a lot of guys, a lot of experience. And it was a situation where I did not feel like I had to be the guy. So something they're not, it makes it easier for you to play. And I didn't have any pressure on me. I didn't feel like I needed to produce. So that freed me up. High school ball down to best athletes, but when it comes to Florida, California, Texas, you're playing against the best all the time. So when you're playing against the best, it's only going to make you better. Yeah. So I think that's honestly what helped me to be the player that I am today. Having the ability to play against some of the best players in the world.
Yeah. And also, as I read in the notes, a standout on the football team, wide receiver, and the backside. It's like they always ask athletes, who are 2-3-star, 3-sport athletes, how one sport can help out, with another sport. I'm just wondering, with football, you definitely were able to, flash the speed, sit on the gridiron. I'm wondering how that, helped you out on the diamond, on the baseball diamond.
Yeah. Yes. So I loved football. Growing up, football was the sport to do. Baseball was just something that I was good at. And as I got older, I realized that I had an opportunity to play both because I was good at both. So being on the football field, it's a whole completely different feel from being on the baseball field. It's just, you have that killer mentality all the time. You know, their competitive nature is up 2 times fold. So I think just mentally being a football player allowed me to have that mentality to where no matter what, you can't take a day off. You always have to bring your best. You always have to bring your A game. You know, you can't be too relaxed. You can't be too hyped. You know, you have to be up and down. You have to even kill. Yeah. But then athletic wise, you know, just using different muscles during football, you know, being able to take hits and then get up, you know, pain isn't as great. I would say though, getting hit with a baseball anywhere it hurts way more than getting hit with football equipment on. I will say that though. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved football. It was something that I was always good at. And I mean, I chose baseball because of the longevity, you know, it's less strenuous on the body, in my opinion. But I mean, if I can go back, that would be tough. I don't know if I would choose baseball, man. I love football. But I mean, I honestly do believe I made the best decision for me. And I'm glad I made the decision to stick with baseball. But, you know, yeah, when I was playing football, it was great. I loved it.
That's terrific. Yeah, you know, you might have answered this question, but for you personally, what makes the game of baseball so special to play, Demetrius?
I would say, just and foremost, it's one of the hardest sports to do. You know, to being a hitter, to be able to connect the bat with the ball, it's just a different feeling. Baseball, it's America's pastime. You know, it's great. And just baseball just gives me a different feeling. You know, I don't know how to fully explain it, but it was just, I always loved the game. But I'm in love with it. You know, just waking up every day knowing I get to play this game. It's a kid's game, you know, being able to do what we could do on a daily basis. You honestly can't beat it, you know, and then seeing kids just look at you sometimes, you know, being able to have that impact on them. Sometimes it's more personable than, you know, football, you know, I love that aspect of it. So I hope I answered it.
No, you did a great job. And I was going to ask you, and there's one thing I might have asked, you know, players before. You have Yogi Berra, the museum right next door. I'm wondering, like, you know, as far as if you've been in there, and just like, you know, having that, knowing that name was on the stadium, and you know, it said a legend, a Hall of Famer, Yogi Berra, you know, with the museum there. How special that is as well, Demetrius.
Yeah, I've been in the stadium multiple times. Always going into that stadium, seeing some of the best athletes ever in the world, not just with baseball. Because I remember the first time I went into the stadium, I'm at the museum. I thought it was just going to be just about baseball, but they have football, basketball, hockey, all kinds of sports in there. So reading up on the greats and seeing what they did and getting a little bit more background information about them, that motivates you even more, because it's like, hey, this is what I would aspire to be. I aspire to leave a legacy like that, to leave an impact on others that are coming behind me. So the fact that I was in that position to see some of the greats right then and there, it's mind blowing. And then, like you said, every time we get a chance to play here, you just say the name Yogi Berra, knowing how he is, the star that he is, the Hall of Famer, the great that he was. I mean, it's a blessing right then and there.
Yeah, it's great now that they have unveiled, you know, said the stamp, you know, said with Yogi, you know, Berra. It's great to see that they had I know the press conference the other day, I think on Sunday. Just have a couple more, Demetrius. Can't thank you enough for the time. I'm wondering, when it comes to Major League Baseball, are there any players that you follow like on a daily basis? Maybe try to sort of like maybe model your game after, or just take any, you know, tidbits or nuggets away from and just apply them to your game?
So growing up, my favorite player was Juan Pierre, being honest. Obviously, a little bit of Mike Trout, and it's biased, but all of those guys are outfielders. So those are the kind of guys that I look forward to, and I try to, you know, compare my game to.
Okay, that's great. Don't want to forget about family, Demetrius. Can you talk about support? You know, said your parents, and if you have any siblings, and just, you know, what they've meant to you along this journey here in baseball.
Yeah, so my mom she's my pride and joy. You know, everything that I do is for her. Shout out to Mom, Rita Franklin. I love her. And then my dad, who passed away in 2016. I think about him daily. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
My dad passed away at 16. My grandmother that passed away in 18.
Okay.
I think about them greatly. Those are my, biggest thoughts when it comes to, motivation.
Yeah.
But I have a great family support system, not only in Florida, but in Ohio and California. I have family all over. I get jokes all the time that every time we have the broadcast, whether we're at home or away, my family's always in the comment section.
Oh,
so being able to have that support system, knowing that no matter what, if you have a good game, you have a bad game, they're always going to be behind you. That makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. Before I ask my final question, I just wanted to quickly go back to the team. Maybe what makes this team so special to be part of, and then building that team chemistry. Maybe during training camp, but now here as we progress during the regular season. But I just quickly, you might have answered, but I just wanted to ask you about that, about the team itself, Demetrius.
Well, one thing I noticed very, very quickly is that we have a lot of guys on our team that they're even kill. I get this from my coach in college. He had the term even kill, to where you're not too high, you're not too low.
Mm-hmm.
It's even kill. So when we're doing good, it can somewhat come off as cocky. I look at it as confident, but when we're doing really good, we're happy that we're doing good, but we have the mentality like, hey, we're supposed to be doing this, whether it's offensively or defensively. And then when we're doing not necessarily bad, but when things aren't going our way, we're like, all right, yeah, it's happening, but hey, let's go. Let's get it going. Let's keep it going. And it started off from the first day. And I think, in all seriousness, that's what builds championship teams. Just having that ability that not just one person, but it's from top to bottom. We have that ability to not be too high, not be too low. And when things aren't going our way, we can just not necessarily flip the switch, but we can, hey, let's go. We have that motivation right then and there. And then also, too, we have a bunch of guys that just want to win. We're going to do anything that we can, whether it's dive for a ball, take that extra base. We're going to do anything that we can to get a win. And that's what you want to win by any means necessary.
Great. Hey, final question is that you talked about before leaving a legacy and a lasting impact, especially with kids, who said there are so many kids that come to the games. What your message would be to younger kids, younger athletes, that eventually they want to aspire to be Demetrius Moorer. They want to, play, professional baseball. What your message, your advice would be to them, in terms of succeeding, at this level?
First and foremost, whatever you believe or whatever you want to do, go after it. Don't let anybody, chase you away from your dreams, because anything is possible. You put your mind to it, you can definitely do it. Secondly, it's a cliche statement. You got to work hard. Some people have that natural ability, but regardless if you're the best player in the world or you're the worst player in the world, you work hard, you're going to get better at it. And just have fun. Enjoy every day and live every day to the fullest, because you never know what can happen. One day it could be Monday, you're looking forward to Friday, and then God forbid, you drop dead. But if you make the best of the day that you have and you're where your feet are and you're enjoying every second of it, whether it's good or bad, you could be great. In college, I heard the saying, you got to take the good with the bad, the happy with the sad, and live every day like it's your last. So, just literally right there. Work hard, be determined. Don't let nobody steer you off. Whatever you want to accomplish, go after it, and just live every day to the best of your ability.
Well said, Demetrius. Hey, the floor is yours. If there's anything I've left out, if you want to add, Demetrius, you're more than welcome to, add anything at this point.
I lost you there. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying the floor is yours, Demetrius. If there's anything else you want to add, you're more than welcome to do so.
Oh, first and foremost, I want to thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate appreciate that. I'm glad and do this more. I hope you listening to this and watching this made an impact on you. Have a great day. Stay blessed and do whatever it is that you love every day that you can.
All right, Demetrius. Hey, thank you for the opportunity. And, I said I really appreciate it and wishing you continued success with the New Jersey Jackals as the 2021 regular season progresses.
Say that one more time.
No, just wishing you continued success. It said during the 2021 regular season with the New Jersey Jackals. And, again, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. No problem. I appreciate it greatly.